Browns fans, hold on tight because things are heating up in Berea over the next few days. Tomorrow, July 22nd, it's the veterans' turn. Real football is still a long way off. It doesn't return until the first week of the NFL season, but the stories that have begun to unfold now could completely determine the fate of the season. And there's a lot to watch, especially since not everyone will be there right away, and that's already creating tension before the first snap of practice. We have important updates, and I'll tell you everything that's happening. But before we continue, please click the like button if you've been a Cleveland Browns fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. There are people here who were at the first game. If possible, comment like this: "Let's go, Browns. Let's go to the Super Bowl." And let's get straight to the point. Quinshon Judkins, the second pick in the draft, is not expected to attend training camp tomorrow. The reason? He hasn't signed his contract yet, and after his domestic violence arrest and all the details that have come to light, the Browns are clearly in no rush to offer him a contract. That alone would be headline news, but there are 89 other players to discuss, and the stories surrounding this training camp go far beyond the Judkins drama. And the first of these is, without a doubt, what could be the most interesting quarterback battle in the entire league. It's a real mystery what will happen, because there's no clear favorite, and that makes it all the more exciting. Joe Flacco, the veteran, is the safest candidate, and with his almost infinite experience compared to others, he seems the most reliable option. But the Browns don't seem to want to simply hand the job over to him. Kenny Pickett, a recent arrival and former first-round pick for the Steelers, should have plenty of opportunities right away. Expect to see him earn important snaps with the first team, because the time is right to see if he can be a major turnaround, the Renaissance project of the year, as we saw with Sam Darnold with the 49ers, Baker Mayfield in Tampa, or even Geno Smith in Seattle. And there's more, because rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders will also be featured, but don't expect to see them leading the charge constantly. Mid or late round draft quarterbacks rarely get those reps early on, and the coaching staff knows that putting too much heat on a defense boasting names like Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett can be detrimental to everyone, including the aggressive line and the wide receivers who need real reps in game situations. Of course, there's always the chance that a Dak Prescott or Russell Wilson will emerge out of nowhere, but that's extremely rare. So, take note. Initially, the bet is on Pickett with plenty of space, Flacco as the insurance, and the rookies appearing in very specific moments. Now, moving on to another point that could decide a lot about this season, Cedric Tillman. The wide receiver is being seen as a strong hope to be the number 2 at the position alongside Jerry Jeudy. Last year, before suffering a concussion that sidelined him for the final third of the season, Tillman showed some encouraging flashes. The big question now is he fully recovered? Can he be that reliable second option when Jeudy is guarded by a blocking corner like Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley? Because if the Browns go into halftime and Jeudy has only one reception for 12 yards, someone needs to step up, and the expectation is that someone will be Tillman. Fans need to keep an eye on him at the start of training camp, both physically and technically, because the answers to these questions will say a lot about the potential of the passing attack in 2024. And speaking of health, this is one of the biggest areas of focus for training camp as a whole. The team has been hit hard by injuries in recent years, and the offensive line is a prime example. Dawg Jones is the most noteworthy case. He had good moments at left tackle before his season-ending injury, and now the expectation is to see how he will perform. Can he keep his weight under control, which is crucial to avoid further stress on his knees and ankles? If he can get to something close to 375 pounds, losing about 25 or 30 pounds of bad weight, it would be a huge step toward ensuring greater durability. But if he's still uncomfortable, the coaching staff should start paying more attention to Kevin Jenkins, the Bears' former second-round pick who, when healthy, was one of Chicago's best defensive linemen. And let's not forget Mike Hall, who also recently underwent knee surgery. Will he start training camp on the PUP list, as happened last year with Greg Newsome and Dalvin Tomlinson? Nobody wants that to happen again, but it's quite possible we'll see more names on that list than we'd like, because teams have no reason to force players in mid-July when games don't start until September. And we need to delve deeper because the next few days answer questions that have haunted the Browns for years. Let's talk a little more about this quarterback duel, because, fans, this goes far beyond simply throwing the ball better. The battle between Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco is a true clash of philosophies. On one side, we have the reliable veteran, the one who may not shine like he used to, but who offers consistency, experience, and as few mistakes as possible. On the other, a quarterback who still has much to prove and represents an uncertain future, but with a potentially higher ceiling if all goes well. and that's exactly why Pickett should get so many opportunities at the start of camp. Andrew Berry and the coaching staff know Flacco will always be there as a backup. The question is, what can Pickett offer that's different? He was drafted in the first round by the Steelers for a reason, and the Browns want to see if they can do with him what other teams have done with quarterbacks considered discarded in their prime. The narrative is almost too seductive. A player who left Pittsburgh discredited and finds redemption in Cleveland, leading the team to a solid season. It's a perfect script for those who enjoy stories of overcoming obstacles, and there's no denying that fans would love to see a division rival resurrected by the Browns. And before anyone asks, yes, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are names that spark curiosity, but realistically, their place with the first team will be minimal at this early stage. Sanders, in particular, has long-term potential that excites many, but putting a rookie against defenses like the Browns at this stage would almost be a sentence of early failure. These two will most likely see snaps in very specific situations, perhaps at the end of practice or in more controlled simulations. Now, back to what could be the difference maker for the passing attack, Cedric Tillman. Fans, if he pans out as WR2, that changes everything. Jerry Jeudy is a fantastic receiver, but even the best struggle when facing defenders of Sauce Gardner's caliber. If Tillman can establish himself as a solid second option, it forces opposing defenses to divide their attention, which opens up opportunities for explosive plays. What's more, he's motivated to show that the concussion that sidelined him at the end of last season is in the past. This is his moment, and everyone in Berea knows it. And speaking of players who need to prove themselves, the offensive line is a veritable testing ground in this camp. Dawg Jones is a huge question mark. He's shown potential, but his injury history and weight are still significant issues. The coaches want to see not only how he moves, but how he reacts physically after so many weeks of rehabilitation. Expectations are high to see if he's truly managed to lose weight and improve his fitness. And if he can't maintain a healthy level, Kevin Jenkins will be the trump card. When healthy, Jenkins was one of the Bears' best linemen, but his biggest issue is exactly the same: health. He has a history of starting games and not finishing them, and the Browns need consistency on the offensive line. And regarding Mike Hall, that's another name that needs to be closely monitored. His knee surgery and the possibility of starting on the PUP list are signs that he's not yet 100%. And remember, fans, last year no one expected Greg Newsome and Dalvin Tomlinson to start training camp outside of practice, and it was a big surprise. This year, we could have similar surprises. It wouldn't be shocking if some big names appear on this list in the early days, because teams prefer not to take risks in July, with almost 2 months to go before the season actually starts. So, Browns fans, consider everything we've said: an uncertain quarterback, a wide receiver with game-changing potential, an offensive line that desperately needs to get healthy, and a roster that may or may not be ready to truly compete in 2024. This training camp will be a game-changer, and it all starts tomorrow. Now it's your turn. Who do you think will win this quarterback battle? Could Pickett really be the renaissance we need, or is Flacco the safe choice? And are you confident that Cedric Tillman will solidify his place as that essential WR2? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because we'll be following every detail of this training camp and bringing you everything, absolutely everything. The Browns season could be decided right now, and you won't want to miss a thing.